That is hardcore.
This is hardcore shit.
But for me, it gets harder and harder to resist.
Good evening and welcome to Hardcore Horror with Elizabeth Bathory and Vlad the Impaler. Or is it Mike and Brigitte?
What's up?
Whichever one. Hey, what's going on over there?
I love all your mini voices. I'm like, who are we gonna get tonight?
Who will it be? The introductor. So we got a show tonight. What we got going on? Do we have a guest?
Yeah, we got some guests. Kind of excited about our extreme horror pick.
We got some stuff going on. All right, yeah. Before we get to some of that stuff, let's talk about a few little things. Let me ask you the most pressing question that there is. Obviously, the most pressing question that everybody wants to know: are you a Count Chocula or a Boo Berry or a Frankenberry kind of girl?
I am it's not Count Chocula, which was the most important. I think I'm a Boo Berry.
You're a Boo Berry, yeah, okay.
And the hardest one to find too.
That they didn't have as well. No, Boo Berry wasn't the hardest one to find, was it? I thought there was another one. Wasn't there another one?
There was like another one. I think about like years later. Actually, you know what? A Boo Berry's good. I don't know. Frankenberries, those pink with the strawberry like ones, those are pretty fucking good too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, they came out with a new one this last year. Did you
that
one? The Carmella.
I didn't try. It was a good
Creeper. I didn't particularly care for it much myself. I'm more of a Count Chocula kind of guy. So, no, it wasn't for me. But yeah, I did.
I love that you're asking me about cereal because I love me some damn junk cereal.
Yeah. Do you feel like that they did more horror stuff like that in advertising and just more playful things back in the old days than they do now?
Oh shit, 100%. I do.
Yeah. I mean, they obviously they do a lot of toys and stuff still, but I mean, I guess they still do it, but it's just not as common. I think over in the UK they put out a Scream cereal back when 5 came out, but it just doesn't happen too often anymore. It seems like. Yeah,
it's think about it when you say back in the day. So everybody's back in the day is a little bit different. So you're kind of referring to like the 80s, right?
80s, yeah. 80s,
so that's
maybe
like
late 70s.
the slasher genre, or the decade where all the slasher films were really, really, really popular. I think it started in the 70s. It kind of, but yeah, there's a like horror, like remember like the Mad Balls? Remember those?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh my God,
I had a few of those.
I love those things. So they come out with those like just a few years ago, and they had them at Sonic. I literally went to Sonic just to buy a kid's meal because I wanted a Mad Ball.
Oh, nice. And Garbage Pail Kids was a big thing back in the day. Remember that? Yeah.
Still love those.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, let's talk a little bit about you still got that clown contest going on. What's going on with that?
Oh my God. So I entered a contest to be part of the cast of Circus of the Dead Part 2. Crazy. I really did. I just thought, hey, you only live once. It's a long shot, but I'm going to try it. And at the time I didn't know it was a contest. I just wanted to enter in this thing. And it turns out to be a contest, which is very, very smart marketing. So the movie, it's Bloody Bill, Billy Pond, Bill Oberst Jr. is Papa Corn. He's the main killer clown. We've had them on our podcast. They are awesome. So they just finished up the first round, and believe it or not, I made it to the semifinals.
Nice.
I'm just like, oh my God, maybe there is a chance. Maybe there is a chance. Since I made it to the semifinals, they're gonna put even if I don't make it, they'll put my name in the credits of the film, which is pretty cool. And,
that's awesome.
Yeah, even if I don't win, I'm like, you know what? To me, this is supporting something that I really truly believe in, which is independent horror films. You and I both know how much work it takes and how much money it takes to make a great movie. So I thought this was a really great idea for
it's an ingenious way to crowdfund for sure. Ingenious way. I never even heard of this happening before, but it's a very ingenious because it seems like they're doing pretty well.
I mean, like I've got some pretty steep competition. Like if you look at some of the people that are ahead of me, so there's semifinals. There's 2 groups. I'm in Bill Oberts Jr.'s group. So there's 2 groups, and if you go over to the other group, the one I'm not in, like there's like I don't know, thousands that like the number one person's like that brought in thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm like,
That's crazy.
Shit,
That is wild. Yeah,
it is wild, but you know what? It's fun. I'm glad that I did it because either way, the funds do go to something that I believe in, and I think it's going to be a badass movie. But oh my god, wouldn't it be so fun if I get to go to Texas and play with the clowns, the killer clowns? Oh my god,
that would be awesome.
Holy
sure.
shit. So be
Yeah.
sure to vote for me because I'm not allowed to vote for myself. So I'm really having to rely on friends, family, or listeners. Anyone, please, please, please go out and vote for me. Hell, you can get a vote for as low as $1. I'd like more votes, but fucking, I mean, if all you got is $1, I just appreciate the support.
Absolutely. And they can find this link on your Facebook or Instagram and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. So my Facebook and Instagram is lynn.brigitte, LYNN.BRIGITTE. Also, believe you posted something up on our Facebook group, didn't you?
On mine, I did on mine, yes.
Okay, we should probably put something on. Hey, we will totally do that. We'll put something on our podcast Facebook page.
Yeah. All right. Clowning around. Okay. Other news. So I went to Best Buy the other day.
Yes, because aren't they like getting rid of their movies and stuff?
Guess what? Guess what?
What?
Not a one. Not a movie at all. No movies, no DVDs. Very teeny weeny tiny section of vinyl, but no movies inside. None. It was a sad day.
So they're done with them. They've sold them all out, and they're not.
They are that was in Knoxville. So I'm sure certain stores probably still have a few. They're still selling them online. They have discounted some stuff online, and some stuff is still regular price. But I assume eventually they're just going to get rid of them all from the warehouses. Yeah, all done. That's it. All gone. I think Walmart has picked up a few of those Steelbooks things that they used to carry, but yeah, they're all gone from there. Which is so that's. It's kind of funny that so now we're talking about the death of media, but now I got another story for you.
Okay.
Have you heard about this? China engineers, they have developed this 200 terabyte disk.
200. Would you say 200 terabytes?
200 terabyte disk, like DVD that can hold tons of movies or shows. Like 200 terabytes is pretty big.
I was gonna say like that's I didn't even know that was even a thing. So I must hold a lot.
Well, by context, a regular disc will hold 4.7 gigabytes, and a Blu-ray is 25.
Okay.
Larger ones are double each on that, but so 200 terabytes on a disc. Pretty wild, huh?
Yeah. So do you buy this disc and you load things on it, or do you buy it with things already on it? So
well, they're just in the engineering phases of it now.
So we just know it's coming. We won't really know.
Right. It has been developed. They said the biggest problem with it is the burning takes so long, which I can only imagine because when you burn a 25, especially a 50 gig Blu-ray, I mean, it takes a little while. So can you imagine 200 terabytes full of media data? That's a lot.
I'm like, what the hell are they going to put on it?
well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, you could literally put like your entire library on it.
Yeah.
You know, what would they put on it? I don't like it as far as like making it to sell or whatever. I don't know. I mean, probably, yeah. You're right. It is kind of weird. It might just be sold as something that you could burn your own stuff onto, but still, with that, you could literally put everything that you own on there. Just about, you know.
It always makes me wonder, like, what's coming next. So you're like, all right. So you had, just rewinding back to like the 80s, you had VHSs, and then you had DVDs and Blu-rays, and everything's streaming now. I'm like, so are they going to create something where you can just like all your hard copies, like just scan them and they all go into like one place?
Yeah.
Makes me wonder just what's coming next.
Well, by comparison, like the biggest external hard drive that I have is like 5 terabytes. This is 200. Even that 5 terabytes, I can get hundreds of movies on there, hundreds and hundreds.
That is so crazy.
So we're talking about thousands and thousands of content that you can put on there. Songs, if you want to put a disc of songs, 200 terabytes, you could put half the catalog on Spotify. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
So,
that is cool. That is crazy.
Again, you would have to have a burner that would be capable of burning it. It'd probably take like a month to burn it. I don't know. It's going to take a long time, but what you would have at the end of it would be a massive collection. So who knows if this will be any real use to, again, as you said, streamers and everybody's going that route digitally, if it will be that much use to them. But it's interesting that we haven't given up hope on the discs, because they're still trying to perfect it and make it even better.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, and I kind of hope it stays that way. Yes, I do like the stream things just because it's convenient sometimes.
Of course,
but at the end of the day, I still love my hard copies. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So we'll see. That could be interesting. Another thing I got is I did hear a rumor that there was online that's saying that Tubi was censoring content.
Oh.
And I did a little bit of research. I couldn't find anything about that to be true. The only thing I did find is, I guess some people that do put their movies on there self-censor their movies. They self-censor their own movies. But I couldn't find anything legitimate about Tubi censoring anything themselves. So hopefully that's not the case.
Are you talking about like censoring like language and?
Could be something like that. Like there's a lot of content out there that is censored, and you might not know some of it. Like Disney now owns The French Connection, which is William Friedkin's movie that he did before The Exorcist. That movie's got some pretty vulgar language at the beginning of it. They cut a lot of that out. And stuff in the streaming, so you had better own one of the old hard copies if you want to get the whole thing.
It makes me wonder how many movies I watch and I stream and shit's cut out that I don't even realize it is.
Yeah. I mean, it could happen. Yeah, definitely. There's definitely. I mean, there are some movies that exist where there's different cuts of the movie, and so you might get one cut as opposed to another. But the whole cutting things out and you not really know. Like if it doesn't say. If it says edited or something, like, okay, then I know it's edited, so I can go look for something else. You know what I mean? But they're not doing it. They're not doing that. They're just putting it out there. So, yeah.
Like as even recently, there's a lot of times when I look up movies to stream, and if I know there's an uncut, obviously I want to watch the uncut.
Yeah.
It's so hard to find uncut versions like to stream. Going back to your heart, I mean, you can. I know they're out there, but a lot of time I'll see where the uncut you have to pay to watch it.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean,
I hate that.
Yeah, and that's kind of like back in the old days. Remember back in the DVD days where they released a movie, rated and unrated. Ooh, I got to see that unrated, even though it's probably like one little scene of something.
Yeah.
Not nothing revolutionary. I mean, there were a few that's like, oh, that's worth it, but like most of them weren't, to be honest. It's like, oh well, if you like the rated, then you're gonna love the unrated.
I know, it's so funny. And what sucks is that I think a lot of these directors, like when they originally are filming, they don't want a lot of this shit cut out. A good example would be My Bloody Valentine, the original.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the uncut Blu-ray, and watching the bonus features, there's even an interview with the director who's like, if you are watching this, that means that you have bought the uncut version, the version that I wanted everyone to see, the version that this movie was supposed to be. And I'm like, I guess once the movie gets sold, or
studios are going to have the final say. If you're with a Hollywood studio or a bigger studio, they're going to have the final say in what product comes out. So as a director, you're going to have the leniency to give to them to make cuts if they demand it. So yeah, that's why sometimes you don't get the quote unquote director's cut until later.
Yeah, and I know that always sucks because you might have a director that takes some risks and pushes some boundaries, but then they take the shit out. They cut it out anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's kind of sucks, but
sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to what you've been watching. What do you got going on?
All right. So before we get into the extreme hard pick, I'll talk about just a few.
Sure.
I can't remember if you've seen this one or not. I watched this movie called The Lodge from
I've seen it.
2019. Have you seen it?
I have seen it,
Okay.
yes.
Shit, I'd never even seen it before. During a family retreat to a remote winter cabin over the holidays, the father is forced to depart for work, leaving his two children in the care of his new girlfriend, Grace. And Grace apparently had some trauma as a child, where she kind of grew up in a cult, and she was the only one that survived. So she had major PTSD, and the kids hated her.
Yeah, they did.
But there was one point in the movie, and I was like, "Oh, wow, wow!" I don't want to give it away. Oh my gosh! But I actually did kind of like this. I thought the ending could have been a little bit better, but overall, I kind of did like it.
I liked it. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah,
it's maybe a little bit of a slow burn. I think a little bit of a slow burn at the beginning, especially. But once it takes off, it's pretty good.
It is a little bit of a slow burn, but it wasn't slow enough. Like, I'd be struggling with that, right? So, but this one wasn't too bad for me.
Right.
Yeah. So
good.
So I definitely recommend that one. Let's see what else. So I did a rewatch of The Crow.
The Crow. Okay, first of all, let's talk just 1 second about before you go to that. Did you see the images of the new Crow?
Yes.
Thoughts on that?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I hate his face makeup.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? No. And the only reason I even like it is just because it's a Skarsgård. That's it. And his abs are killer. But
well, look. I mean, obviously he's a good actor. He did great as Pennywise, and he can do these great roles and step into these personas and stuff. But the look is atrocious.
yeah, it looks like he's ready to go party at a gay club or something.
It's just,
yeah, I mean, seriously, that's kind of what it looks like. The makeup is terrible. So I just did a rewatch of the original Crow the other night, and I was like, damn, that's gonna be really, really hard to do. And you know how I feel about remakes anyways. Sometimes they can be pulled off, and you would think with Bill Skarsgård that he would do great. But just for the new picture that come out of him, like, putting his jacket on, his makeup, I'm like,
What have I told you? Look, if you're gonna remake a movie and be a good remake, it's generally a movie that can be improved upon. The Crow is a pretty perfect movie, I think. It's great. It doesn't need to be improved upon. You know what I mean?
Yep. I definitely agree with you on that.
It's fantastic. And look, and I even like Crow 2. I think it's a pretty decent movie. I like it. Iggy Pop and stuff is in it. I liked it. Everyone after that one's been totally downhill. But yeah, the remake, I mean, to me, it's just going to be a cash cow. Look, I do like his acting, so I think that he can pull off a good, performance, possibly. But it's just like, why would they just create this look that's just, oh my god, just like, again, atrocious.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so you know what he looks like? I said he looks like he's going to like party at a gay club. He looks like Robin from Batman and Robin.
Well,
that's exactly what he looks like.
Well, everybody's saying he's the Joker from the Suicide Squad, Jared Leto, because of all the tattoos. But I can see what you're saying too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, but the. I know a lot of people didn't like Jared Leto as the Joker, but his makeup was cool. Like, this is just, it looks buddy to me. It just looks buddy. It don't look great. It doesn't look great at all.
Right.
And, I know he really is legitimately a great actor, but Pennywise is a completely different character. So I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out. But you are right. If you're going to remake a movie, I completely agree with you. Make one that has some room for growth. The original Crow, I absolutely loved.
Yeah,
love that movie, and it'll be tough. It'll be tough to pull it off. So yeah, So I did a rewatch of The Crow. It's awesome. It's one of those movies I could probably watch a million times.
Yeah.
So yeah. So glad I brought that up so we could have a chat about that. So I watched a movie that you recommended for me, a little movie called Goth.
Okay.
Phoebe Dollar.
Well, what'd you think? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was different. So she was the same actress that was in Hell's Highway. We talked about it on the last podcast. So I
Right.
didn't like it as good as Hell's Highway. I actually
Yeah.
really liked Hell's Highway, but no, it was okay. It was okay. It was, super micro budget, but it was still all right.
I like the aesthetic. I mean,
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, that's really probably the best part.
I did get some good ideas. So, Full Moon Tattoo and Horror Festival is coming up this month, March 29th, 30th, and 31st. And Three-Legged Circus will have a booth there. And as you know, like when we work these bigger conventions, always dress up, new cosplay, and my clown costume. And so my clown costume that I've been wearing recently, it kind of looks like a Pennywise, sort of. It's got a Pennywise look, and I always do a red wig. So I've got my new hair back, my long blonde hair, and I'm like, yeah, I won't be able to like pull a wig off. So from the movie Goth, her character, how they had her dressed up, she had like these red extensions throughout her hair, and I was like, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I got that idea from that movie. So
very cool. All right.
Kudos to whoever like put those red extensions in her hair. Nice. Awesome idea. Yeah. So what else? Oh, here's one. So at first I'm like, is this a horror movie? So it's considered a horror movie. I don't know about that, but it's Beau is Afraid.
Okay. So you watched it?
Watched it.
Ari Aster. Tell me what you thought.
Man.
I told you it wasn't a horror movie.
Why is it? First of all, why is it classified as a horror movie?
Just because of him. He's the director of Hereditary and Midsommar.
So I think we talked about this before. I should have known going in that, because I'm not a fan of Hereditary. I'm not. It's pretty obvious. Midsommar, I never watched because I didn't like Hereditary. So I kind of, but it's Joaquin, what's his name? Phoenix. Joaquin. Joaquin. He's a great actor. So I was like, I'm going to give it. And it had all these awards and all this stuff. And man, at the end, I was like, I don't even know what even happened. Like, I just don't. I have no clue what even happened. And I think that some of these filmmakers, they want to make something artistic and all this shit. But I'm like, I mean, if you're going to do that, but at least it needs to be where we can at least know what the fuck's happening. I don't know. It was so I just couldn't follow it. Therefore, it was boring to me.
Yeah.
But did you like it or no?
Definitely my least favorite of his movies, which I like Hereditary and Midsommar, but definitely my least favorite. I mean, there was a few scenes that were pretty cool, and it's definitely a trippy fever dream kind of a movie, but definitely not a horror movie at all. Like I said, there's a few scenes that are redeeming in there, but as a whole, it's not really like something I'm like, yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Right. Right. So I wish I could get back like 3 hours of my life.
Yeah, it was long.
Unfortunately, but I could say I checked it off my list, so I did that.
There you go.
So another one that I watched was the Silent House, and you told me that there was 2 versions. I didn't know there were 2 versions.
Yep.
And you told me that you had seen one of them. So you've got your original. And I'm sorry, I can't remember. It's a foreign film, Spanish, I believe. Right?
Sounds about right. Yeah. And then the American remake has Elizabeth Olsen in it.
Yeah. So I know that's funny. So, I ended up going and watching that after I had posted that what I was watching. You're like, oh, I was like, I think I need to watch that one. So I ended up watching both of them.
Okay.
And it's funny. I didn't know that was Elizabeth. She's an Olsen sister. I was like, she really looks like the Olsen twins. And so I Googled her and I was like, holy shit, I know that she's a sister. Okay. So between the two, and you already know which one's going to be better, right? So the Spanish one's obviously better. It's a little bit more hardcore than the original. It's about like any other American remake. The original was way better. And you said that you saw the remake, but not the original. I'd recommend you going back and watching.
Yeah, I saw the remake in theaters back when it came out back in the day. The big thing selling point with that movie was that they try to say that it was all one continuous shot, like Birdman, that kind of a thing. Which later on you find out is neither one of them are actually continuous shots, but they're both made that way, right?
So I saw that and I was like, that's not legit.
No, it's not legit.
It's not legit. Okay. No. I didn't think so. I'm like, how did that even become a rumor? They started.
Well, I mean, it's made to fool you to think that it is. It looks like it is. If you just try to follow the camera, but they have trickery where they can cut and you not know it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, So first one, I definitely watch or the original for sure if you can handle the subtitles. But yeah, so it was okay. Not one of my favorites. The movie's called The Silent House. I believe the original came out in 2010, and the American remake came out in 2011. Yeah. So yeah, not a whole lot to talk about on that one. It was okay. Anything else? Oh, yes. Let me talk about this one before we talk about our Extreme. This is a movie I've never seen before. Is Human Centipede: The Final Sequence.
Okay, but have you seen 2 though?
I've seen 2. I've seen 1 and 2.
Okay. Right.
I don't know why I didn't watch the third one, and I hooked up with a friend of mine and her husband. They were talking about it, and I was like, oh, I saw the second one. She goes, oh, the second one's just gross, but the third one's kind of funny. So I did give it I tried it out, and it was probably only something I'll only watch one time, but it was funny. So you got the guy, the doctor from the first one, who's in the third one, and he's the head of the security of the prison, or the head of the prison, I guess. Mm-hmm. And his character is just crazy and funny. It did get on my nerves a little bit. I couldn't understand what he was saying half the time. I'm like, okay, but yeah, it was all right. I probably won't watch it again. I checked it off my list. So, I thought I didn't realize that the director has a little cameo in the movie, Tom Six. I didn't realize that, which is it's a weird cameo. It's a different movie, but
personally for me, it's my least favorite of the trilogy.
Is it?
To me, it's just too over the top. It's just like too much.
Yeah, like the whole prison, the entire prison.
The whole long length of Centipede. It's just too much. One is good for the shock value of because you've never seen anything like that before. I love 2 because it pushes fucking boundaries. And matter of fact, I just found the colorized version of number 2 because they finally put out a colorized version. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna watch it.
Oh, I did not even know that.
Yeah, and this, I'm sure it's gonna be gross as shit. But I do like 2 because I think it is it's pretty out there.
So I'm kind of like you. So you had the first one, and the first one. So I honestly just watched the first one maybe 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it was uncomfortable to watch because you're like, oh my God, this is fucked up. It's crazy. And so it's the shock value. And then the second one, you've already got that crazy, oh my God, from the first one. But the second one, they totally push boundaries. There were some scenes in there that definitely made me cringe a little. One is just it's kind of goofy, really. Yeah. It's kind of funny. But yeah, you've already seen all that same shit from the first and second one, so I totally get that.
Right.
Anyways, are you ready to talk about our extreme movie?
The extreme horror.
Maybe you should go
of the week
first because I have a lot to say about it.
You want me to go through my list first?
Yeah. Let's do that.
All right. Okay. Cool. I have a list. So, first thing I watched was Peeping Tom. From 1960. Have you ever seen this movie?
Yes, it was was it considered like the first slasher or something?
No, it's considered the first POV sort of slasher thing.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
And this is really my first time honestly watching the whole thing. Obviously I'd seen bits and clips of it before, but just to sit down and watch the whole entire thing. I mean, yeah, it is, but it kind of isn't. it's not enough of the killer, like, because yes, he's filming with a camera, so
Yeah.
it's almost like a found footage almost, because I mean it's with a camera, so you kind of know what it is, as opposed to like some of these other killers where it's not really with a camera, it's just their POV. I mean, because it's not really his POV, it's the camera's POV, right? In this one, so and obviously you don't really get any of the kills. You just kind of, you know, see, you get the implied stuff. So it's a much tamer. Like, honestly, we still got to give credit to Carpenter in Halloween, but I mean, I'm sure this was an inspiration. But yeah, this was perhaps the genesis, but I wouldn't consider it still the POV slasher, to be honest.
It's really not. So when I remember watching that, and I read somewhere like the first, whatever it is, first POV slasher, I was like, but it was really boring. I thought it was boring.
Well, I mean, it's definitely dated. I mean, it came out in 1960, and there's a lot of things they couldn't do back then. So I get it. I mean, you're kind of limited to certain things, because it wasn't until a few years later that you were actually able to put a lot more stuff into film. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to it.
Yeah.
But apparently the film ruined the director's career. So I mean, I guess there's that.
What'd you say?
The movie ruined the director's career. He couldn't find work after this. He got shunned because of this movie. So
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Because of what kind of movie it is?
Yeah, I think so. Just the subject material and everything.
Oh, well, that's kind of sad.
Yeah. Up next was a little movie from 1995 called Monster Mash, the movie. This is just a cute little movie. It's like a made-for-TV movie, kind of trying to be part musical, Rocky Horror kind of thing. The only reason I mention it is because it actually had the guy Bobby Pickett playing Dr. Frankenstein. And you know who Dr. Bobby Pickett is?
I don't think so. When you're saying that, who is that?
He's literally the one who wrote the song Monster Mash.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
And
he's in the movie.
He plays the Dr. Frankenstein. He's the lead character really in the movie, and his sidekick Igor is John Kasser. Do you know who that is? That's the Crypt Keeper.
Oh no shit.
The voice of the Crypt Keeper. Yeah, so it's a cute little movie.
Oh, that is kind of fun. Did he sing the Monster Mash?
They did. They sure did. Awesome. Absolutely.
I kind of want to watch it for that. That's great.
Yeah. So I did a rewatch of all of the Psychos, and some of them I've never seen. We'll get to that. Are you a fan of the Psycho movies at all? Are you into any of those?
So I saw a lot of them when I was a kid. I like the original one. I even like the remake. The remake with Vince Vaughn was pretty good.
Okay. Did you see any of the other ones? Did you see 2, 3, and 4?
I don't remember a whole lot about. I did, but it was so long ago. I don't remember them. I did watch the Bates Motel. I was a fan. Okay. I was a fan of the Bates Motel.
You talking about the movie?
No, the show, The Bates Motel.
Oh, okay. So there's a movie. Okay, so I watched Psycho. I love Psycho. Obviously, it's classic. 1, 2, and 3. They're all actually pretty decent. Let's see. Tom Holland directed the second one. Anthony Perkins himself directed the third one, and the fourth one was directed by Mick Garris. So they're all kind of different, but I like them all. To be honest, I do. The remake. I mean, it's okay. It's kind of pointless, but it's in color, and he has some great actors in it. And Gus Van Sant is a good director. I mean, it got a lot of shit because kind of like The Crow. Psycho's. It's kind of the one of those movies that nobody wants to see remade.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I'm not like possessive of Psycho, so I'm like, don't do it or whatever. But I don't think it did very well at the box office, the remake, and I think people were just like mad about it. So
that maybe the reason I liked it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just own it and just straight up admit it, that I had never seen the original, and I saw the remake in the movie theater, and I think I was like a teenager or something.
Sure.
I liked it, and that's why I went and watched the original.
and that can really make a big difference. I think
Yep.
I think that can make a lot of people. If you're older and you've watched the original, you're gonna be like, who needs this crap? So that can make timing is everything when it comes to movies and stuff, and what you value and things that you really like. So up next there was a TV movie called Bates Motel. So that's what I kind of thought you were talking about. Have you ever heard of this?
No, you said it's a movie, like a
It's a
TV
movie.
movie, like it was made for TV.
Made for TV. Came out in 1987. Bates Motel.
Is he a teenager in the movie, like Norman Bates, or no?
No, it's not even about Norman Bates. It's about because Norman's dead in the movie, and his this guy that he was roomed with inherits his motel and comes out there and tries to fix it up and stuff. Bud Cort is the one that plays the guy who inherits the hotel. Bud Cort's the guy in Harold and Maude. The movie's pretty terrible. It's pretty bad. This is the first time I ever saw it. I don't really know what it's trying to be, because it's like it's trying to carry on that Bates, that psycho thing, but not really. Then it shifts into this sort of like spirit sort of TV message of the week kind of thing. I don't really know. It kind of went all over the place, to be honest. It wasn't very good at all. I wouldn't even say worth a watch. Maybe worth a watch if you're a psycho completist, but really not a good movie at all.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, and then the next thing was the Psycho Legacy, which is a documentary about all of the movies and stuff. And that's pretty good, pretty informative stuff there. So up next was Frankenstein. Frankenstein came out. It was published in 1818. That's been a few years. It's been a couple years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's been a while. It's funny though, because it's like, other than probably Dracula, Frankenstein's been made a lot. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, a lot.
There's been a lot of reanimations, pun intended, if you will, of Frankenstein on many different formats, but especially with movies and stuff. Have you ever seen the original Frankenstein?
Not the original. Nope.
Yeah, the one that came out in 1910.
Nope.
It's freaking creepy.
For 1910, yeah.
For 1910, because I don't know, it's weird though. But it's weird. It's like, I don't know. They trapped him in a mirror at the end. I don't really understand what the hell went on with the movie. But anyway, obviously they couldn't do what they end up being able to do in the 30s. But anyway, so it's funny because it does kind of go in cycles of what gets made and stuff, and it's kind of funny because last year there was 2 movies that I saw, probably more. I'm sure there was a lot more about the theme of Frankenstein, and that was the angry black girl and her monster, which I liked, and Rebirth, which was okay to me. And then here I am now, and I've got 2 more on this list about Frankenstein.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I was watching a movie not too long ago. It'll come to me in a minute, but I remember going, "This is basically like a Frankenstein movie." It wasn't, but it was basically the same storyline.
Yeah. So the first one that I watched was Poor Things.
Poor Things. I don't think I've heard of this one.
This is Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, William Dafoe. Yorgos Lanthimos, I can't really pronounce his last name. This is the guy who directed The Lobster and the Killing of the Sacred Deer, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like everything he's done. I really do. I did enjoy this movie. It's really messed up. You want me to tell you some of the plot, or do you want me to save it?
No. Let's hear it. Let's go ahead.
Spoiler alert! If you have not seen Poor Things, go watch it on the Hulu right now. William Dafoe is kind of like Dr. Frankenstein in this movie, kind of in a way, and he's got, it's weird because he's all scarred up, like he looks like the monster, honestly, but he plays like kind of the doctor. So he finds this girl played by Emma Stone who had jumped off this bridge, right? She's trying to commit suicide. She jumped off this bridge and killed herself, but she was pregnant. So him being the doctor that he was, this man of science, found her, took the baby out of her, put the baby brain in her, and brought her back to life.
Oh.
Is that not weird?
That
That's
kind of
pretty
sounds
fucking.
good though.
That's pretty fucking strange, right?
Yeah.
I really like the movie. I really don't understand honestly all the acclaims though, because it's like a contender for Best Picture and all that stuff. I mean, sometimes they get a little weird with the Oscars and stuff. Remember that year, The Shape of Water won and stuff. But it's a little weird. Like to me, like I don't know. I don't see like normal people watch this movie going like, "Yeah, it's a good movie," but I guess a lot of people are liking it. But I like it, but it's a weird fucking movie for sure.
So, but sometimes I like the weird movies. Like we were just talking about Beau is Afraid. Yeah, it's weird. It was a little too weird for me because I just couldn't. It just didn't do anything for me. But I legitimately love weird movies.
Yeah, yeah. This isn't weird like that, like where you don't know what's going on. It just has a very weird feel and look to it and everything. And again, that storyline alone is enough to probably turn off quite a few people. Like, I don't want to see that. Because essentially, I mean, it shows her like going and growing, and then eventually she becomes like a prostitute, and that's all this shit, man. So it's pretty wild. But I recommend it. It's on Hulu.
What year did it come out?
It just dropped last year. I think it came out in December, I believe.
Oh, okay. Poor Things.
Poor Things. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Up next was Lisa Frankenstein, that new movie that came out in February, I think.
I remember when they came out with the title of this because Lisa, I thought that they got the name from like Lisa Frank. You remember Lisa Frank?
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I might be showing my like real age there, but like all the colorful things. I was like, Lisa Frankenstein. I was like, I think they got the name from that. Okay, so
possible.
So it's a Frankenstein movie.
It's a Frankenstein movie. So it's directed by Zelda Williams, who's Robin Williams' daughter.
Oh, okay.
Written by Diablo Cody, who did Jennifer's Body.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's a cute little movie. I liked it. It's a PG-13 movie, but it's just about a girl who's a very oddball. Kind of think of the. I mean, this is set in like the late '80s, like I don't know, '89, I think, or something like that. So it's got that late '80s, early '90s feel to it. But think of like the oddball character, like Winona Ryder's in Beetlejuice, that kind of thing. And anyway, she's like visiting this grave and eventually comes to life and stuff. And I mean, it's cute. I mean, when I say cute, I mean, there's people getting killed and stuff, but it's a cute little romance comedy horror movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked it for what it was. I mean, it's not too heavy with the dialogue from Cody. Like usually she does a lot of zingers with her dialogue. There's some, but not as much as like in Jennifer's Body.
Is it like a love story or no?
Yeah, it's pretty much a love story.
I wonder.
Yeah,
I wonder. Yeah. That's because when you were saying it's a cute movie, I was like, it must be a love story.
Yeah, it pretty much is. I mean, if your date is into necrophilia, I guess. Whatever. Yeah.
Oh my god! I'm so gonna go watch this. This is so funny.
It's a love story. It's a love story. Up next was a little movie that you know about, 100 Tears.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. I saw that you saw. So if I wouldn't have watched the bonus features, I don't think I would have liked it as much.
Yeah.
It has a ton of gore. I really thought that was going to be really extreme. It wasn't as extreme as I thought. There was a lot of gore in it, and it was lower budget than what I thought.
I think in context it wasn't extreme, but there was a lot of gore.
There was a lot of gore, but I loved watching the bonus. The bonus features were crazy long. Like there was like an hour of just behind the scenes footage of people walking around and taking with their cell phones, just and they spliced them all together. I was like, that was really cool. I just thought it was cool.
Yeah. Oh, that is cool. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't for sure. I'd seen the picture and stuff and I knew about it. And obviously you bought the movie when you came down here, and so and everything. But I just had never watched it before, and so I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was really good. I mean, yeah, the gore was well worth the watch.
I thought so too. If you like gore, which I love the gore. It's a really, really, really good one. And another fun fact about the movie that I remember is there's several people that play the killer clown. Several. and
Oh, is that right?
yeah, there's several people that play him, and
Oh,
I was like,
that's
oh
cool.
my god, if you look and see, like, one on the bonus features, and the guy that plays him the most is one of the main characters in the movie. So I'm like, oh shit. And but I think there's like 3 different people that play the clown.
Uh-huh.
I was like, that's
Okay.
kind of cool,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Fun fact.
Awesome.
That's just your fun
Awesome.
fact for the
So
night.
people need to buy that disc then, right?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Up next, I got a little movie called The Gesture.
The Gesture. Is a clown another clown movie?
It's kind of like he kind of was. He's got a clown face. Yeah. He's kind of like a clown face, but it's just it's a plastic mask. I mean, it's not like makeup or anything. But yeah. It wasn't that good. The Gesture himself's okay. Some of the powers he has is pretty cool. I don't know. The storyline's not that great. It obviously is an Art the Clown ripoff. I think want to be kind of a deal. I don't think the story was fleshed out enough to really just make it that memorable. It's an okay movie. Like I said, it's just not. I don't know. The exposition stuff to it, I was kind of like, you know. So mediocre at best. Maybe worth a watch, especially since you like clowns and stuff. But again, it's really just a guy in a mask, but you don't really learn about much of him anyway. But yeah, I wasn't that terribly impressed with it.
Okay, I was like, I don't even think I've even heard of that one.
Yeah.
So it's an okay, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have anything better to do.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Up next was a little movie from 2011 called Casadega. Have you ever heard of this?
I don't think so.
A deaf woman who resurrects the ghost of a murdered young woman is forced by the spirit to a serial killer who turns his female victims into marionette dolls.
Oh.
That is a mouthful. And now I tell you, this is a weird movie because it's not even almost hardcore, but then again, it is because so you got this deaf woman, and there's a lot of like drama in this movie that's probably not even necessary. I mean, it just doesn't add too much to it, I don't think, because there's like this whole plot with the guy who hooks up with her, and he's got a kid, and he's going through a divorce, and it really doesn't pay off that much with all that stuff. But the real thing is, she did a seance. She was trying to contact her sister. End up kind of opening the gate for this murdered woman who's forcing her to find to avenge her, kind of a deal. So but the main thing about this movie that makes it worth watching is you got this fucking serial killer who is getting these bodies, like kidnapping people and then making them into marionettes, which you don't see too much of it, but what you do see is like, whoa.
What's the name of this again?
It's called Casadega.
Casadega. Okay. I feel like I've actually heard of this movie. Casadega, but I definitely haven't seen it. So you recommend it's a watch?
I mean, worth a watch. It is slow in parts, and there's definitely a lot of drama that's not really necessary. But it's just one of those that there's the few scenes that are really, really good. You will go, wow! I'm glad I saw that for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could have been better. Like this, it could have been done a lot better. I feel like they tried to go a few different ways with it. They're trying to do like maybe too many plots or whatever. But I did like it because of the again, the serial killer.
Okay.
So listen, necrophilia. We talked about that a little bit earlier with Lisa Frankenstein.
Yeah.
You got movies like Necromantic 1 and 2. Most people consider those things repulsive, right? Like, ugh, God, disgusting. Who don't want to fucking watch that shit? Kind of a deal for the most part. What if there was a movie about necrophilia that isn't even considered horror?
Not consider horror.
Not even considered a horror.
What would it be considered?
It's considered
a
drama. No. It's considered a drama romance.
Wow. Hey, whatever floats your boat, I guess it could be a romance. I guess I don't know.
This leads me to the 1996 movie Kissed.
Oh, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah. So over the years, a child's romantic ideals about death blossom into necrophilia, the study of embalming and the most profound relationship of her life.
That sounds like a horror movie. It's not.
It does, don't it? But it does. Well, it isn't like made like a horror movie in a way that it's like presented like it. But I mean, the subject matter alone lends itself to horror, doesn't it? I mean, for sure. It's definitely a messed up movie. So you got this girl. She's fascinated with death, and she has been since a young age, and kind of just shows her progressing with that. But then she ends up working at a funeral home, and she ends up, then she progresses and she gets to do the embalming and stuff. And so once she starts doing all that stuff, well, then she starts making love to the patients.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And she's obviously a very weird character, but then she meets this living guy, and it's kind of weird because she pretty much nonchalantly tells him that she does this, and it kind of shows that progression until eventually he starts developing real feelings for her, and he gets sort of real jealous of this sort of hobby that she has, and things just kind of downward spiral into the third act. But yeah, it's a pretty messed up little movie that, again, isn't really labeled under horror, but is definitely a horror movie.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And it's funny to me that anytime you hear of like necrophilia, a lot of people automatically think extreme. I guess it depends what your definition is of extreme, because it's different for. Necrophilia really bothers a lot of people. They're like just horrified by it.
Right. Well, we've seen stuff like Aftermath and stuff like that, but this is kind of the opposite of that, because it's not the guy with the girl, it's the girl with the guy.
Yeah,
but presented in a totally different way. It's the same. It's literally the same story in that sense, but it's just depicted in a totally different way.
It's the girl doing it to the guy. I'm like, how much detail does that show? Like, is that possible?
There is nudity, but it doesn't get graphic like that. No.
Okay, I'm just wondering. I'm like, how is that even possible? I don't want to know.
Rigor mortis.
Oh yeah. Oh my God! Wow. I know. I hadn't thought about that way. Oh, I was like, oh gosh.
All right. So up next is a little film called Family Portraits: A Trilogy of America.
Okay, I think I've seen this.
Have you seen the whole thing?
I think so. It's a documentary, right?
No.
What?
No.
It sounds.
It's an anthology. It's an anthology.
Okay. What? Tell me what it's about, because I feel like it rings a bell to me.
Well, so it's an anthology. Got 3 different stories. No wraparound or anything. So the first one's called Cutting Moments. I actually had seen Cutting Moments before. I started watching it. I thought, maybe I've seen this whole thing before. I hadn't seen the whole thing, but I had seen that short. Cutting Moments. It's pretty brutal. It's about like this family, this wife and husband and their little boy. And what it alludes to basically is that the little boy is being molested by the father. And he's also very neglectful to the wife, like not really paying her any attention. So then you have this moment where she's trying to maybe deflect his attention to her. So she dresses up, something sexy, and he's in there watching the game. And she comes in. This is spoiler heavy, by the way. She comes in there, and he just doesn't pay her any attention whatsoever. I'm just going to tell you the whole thing.
Okay.
Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. She comes in there. He doesn't pay her any attention. She goes back into the bathroom, gets a Brillo pad, starts scrubbing her lips off, like scrubs them off completely.
Oh,
comes back. There's just like blood everywhere. He starts paying attention then, and then we cut to a scene of them in the bedroom. There's blood everywhere. They're both naked. He's got shears. He's cutting her up, cutting her tits off, and then at the end he reaches down and castrates himself.
Holy shit!
It's pretty hardcore.
What was the significance of like the lips cutting the lips off.
I think she just reached a point where she was just defiling herself, just like yeah. And maybe she thought this would get attention, which obviously did, but I don't know. It's just disturbing, disturbing.
Okay, I definitely haven't seen this, by the way. I was like,
yeah. Well, that's the one. That's more. I don't know where I saw that, but I'd already saw that one before. The second one was called Home. This one is a little bit tamer, but it's still about a family, and it's about kind of like this guy with PTSD because of all this bad shit that's happened to him when he was a child, and then he has a daughter and a wife, and he ends up going ballistic and killing them. I mean, there's really not a whole lot to it, but that it really just leads to like a cycle of violence, basically thing. Mm-hmm. And the third one is called Prologue, and it's a little long. It's a little drawn out. It's probably too long. It probably could have been cut a little bit, but it's about this girl who you think she's been in a car wreck because she's in a wheelchair and she's lost both her arms. Like she's got like these metal hands and stuff, and you don't really know what's going on. And then there's this scene with this older couple and stuff, and he's doing like working on stuff, and eventually it all blends together where this guy is actually the one who actually kidnapped this girl and raped her and probably did all that stuff to her, and he's also killed all these other girls and like buried them and stuff. And it's pretty shocking. I mean, it's not as shocking. The first one is definitely the most shocking, like visually, mm-hmm. for sure. But they're all. I mean, it's pretty hardcore.
Oh yeah. It sounds like it. It sounds like it. You're like, it's pretty hardcore. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good.
It's hardcore. It's not for the faint of heart, for sure. None of those shorts are.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to touch on before we get to the hardcore pick of the week is rewatch of Return to Oz. Have you seen this movie?
I saw you posted earlier, and I have not seen it. It's a Disney movie, but I think it's the more like scarier.
It's completely nightmare fuel, and it's kind of funny because it's like I remember them showing this when I was in elementary school in my school, and I'm thinking to myself, like, just looking at it now, be like, what the heck, it's very disturbing. There's a lot of wild. The Wheelers themselves are just crazy, and then the lady with the multiple heads because she's headless.
Isn't there? So I went and looked at watch the trailer. I was like, isn't like one of the characters like changing heads or something?
She's changing heads. She has like a collection of heads. Yes, it's a very disturbing movie. I love it. I think it's awesome. I mean, the claymation and CGI it's a little clunky. This was a 1985, but I do love it. I think it's a great movie. It's one of my favorite Disney movies. Obviously, not what people wanted with a sequel to the Wizard of Oz, but I think it's great. I think it's great.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And let's get to the hardcore horror pick of the week.
Yes,
Brigitte.
It's a doozy.
Brigitte picked this one out, people.
Yep.
Oh, Brigitte.
I know.
Torment. Torment. Freely inspired by Gacy's torture insane world. This film promises to tell what no other movies no one had the courage to push the limits. All right. Well, I guess that pretty much says it.
Yep.
Well, it's definitely hardcore. It's definitely hardcore.
Yeah, it's probably a one-time watch for me.
Definitely a one-time watch for me.
So probably, I'm thinking that I think I witnessed like some of the most gruesome rape scenes I've ever seen in movies.
Well, let me ask you something. Was that simulated or unsimulated? Because I mean, I didn't read that it was unsimulated, but was it?
I don't know. I thought I thought the same thing. So I'm not sure, but wow.
Yeah. If not, that's really good. That's like as close as you can get to fakery, right? I mean, to realism as a fakery, if it is.
Yeah, it's a crazy movie. So basically, if you haven't seen this movie, Torment, it's kind of loosely based off of John Wayne Gacy, and they do. It's not like any other thing. They show a lot, and fucking intense. The whole thing, and it starts off pretty. I mean, it's quick. It jumps right into it, and
yeah, it pretty much jumps right into
and
it.
When you first turn it on, it kind of reminded me of Regurgitated Sacrifice. You've got like these color drawings. It looks like a 5-year-old colored these little pictures of clowns.
Yeah, right.
You don't know what you're getting yourself into, but holy shit! In the beginning, you got the guy that wakes up. He's kind of, he's just kind of wandering around, and oh my gosh, he goes and opens this door to a back room, and holy shit! It is just so fucking intense. It's too extreme for mainstream.
Too extreme for mainstream for sure. Yes, there's a lot of torture. There's a lot of rape, a lot of stuff like that.
And
a lot of graphic stuff.
A lot of graphic, and it. I mean, it looked real.
It looked real. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know for sure if it was
I don't
simulated or not.
I was just like, I'm not sure, but no, it totally looked legit.
Yeah.
And then what about the camera angle? That
shows, the Coke bottle or with the bottle and stuff.
Well, that one too. But like when they showed the camera from inside the rectum.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, when he put it in there.
Was it with the bottle? I was like, oh.
Well, the first time it wasn't. It was a finger.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, and I was like, oh my.
Yeah.
God, what the fuck?
I think my main problem with this movie is that there's just not any dialogue.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I don't think there's any dialogue in this,
except at the end, right? Where he at the end where he breaks the fourth wall. Yeah, but there wasn't that much to it, honestly. I mean, there wasn't enough to hold. Like, there wasn't really a plot per se. I mean, I guess there was, but it didn't really go too far. It was just mostly torture, rape, torture, rape, torture, rape.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. And
yeah.
Yeah, it's I can say one thing that it's an extreme horror movie that I've seen but it didn't like cross the line of some of the other extreme, like Regurgitated Sacrifice is a good example. It didn't cross the line of where it was like puking and piss and semen. They didn't even have to even do this in that movie because it was enough. Like, you didn't even need to even do it. Like, it was pretty intense, and oh my God.
Yeah.
So before you and I watched this movie, I researched the director, looked him up, sent him an email. Hey, we did this podcast, right? And he was like, hey, thank you for reaching out. And I've actually gotten completely away from horror. But good luck to you. And I was like, oh my God, did he push, after watching this, I'm like, did he push himself over the edge? Because holy shit. He was like so nice, and he was like, he was so polite. I thought like is it a language barrier? But no, he was so polite, and he's like, I've gotten away from that. But I was like, holy shit.
Okay.
Yep. So nope, I am wrong. It's not the director, it was the producer.
Okay.
Yeah, producer. I don't even know how to say his name. Damasino Cristofori. Maybe. He was also, he did American Guinea Pig Sacrifice.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So apparently he's gotten out of the horror. So
all right.
Yeah. So I thought he'd be pretty cool to bring on, and I've got his contact, but I was like, damn, that's disappointing, because I want to know, like, people that think of this shit, I'm like, and actually create it. And the actors. Oh my God. It makes me wonder. I would think if you did a part like this, you'd never get a gig ever again.
All right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, what do you think? Would you watch it again or no?
I don't think I'd watch it again. I don't think I need to. I mean, there's really not, again, not a big plot to keep me enthralled with it.
Yeah.
Worth a watch if you're really into hardcore stuff, I think,
Yeah.
To see it. I mean, there's some good torture in there. I guess you would say. So there's that.
Yeah. And the advertising is right. They legitimately push boundaries on the story of John Wayne Gacy that other inspired movies and shows, they don't cross that line, but definitely crossed it here for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I wish there was some dialogue to really, if you don't like movies like a silent film, it's not really a silent film because it's not silent, but there is no dialogue, so that might that might be a no-go for some people, but yeah.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about it being like a silent film, but it kind of is. I mean, there's legitimately no dialogue whatsoever. Oof. God, it don't even need to make me feel that way. It don't even need any dialogue down.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So wow, that was a pretty extreme one. And it's fun. I do like watching these extreme because I love it when we pick one of these out because it's a lot of the times a movie that I wouldn't normally watch. So I love it that we pick these out. Speaking of, do you have anything in mind for our next episode?
Sure. I've got a couple of possibilities here. Okay. What about Amateur Porn Star Killer? Have you ever watched any of those?
No, I haven't. So that might be a good choice.
Well, there are three of them.
Okay.
You can watch 1 through 3 if you want. If you can get through them all. If not, we'll do one. We'll save one, but if you want to watch them all, I may watch them all in succession, and so we'll do those. Yeah.
All right. Let's see how well I do with the first one.
Okay. Yeah. It might be like one. It might be one and done for you. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Well, you want to talk to our guest?
Yeah. Let's bring our guest on.
Okay. Cool.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We have dazzling Kayla Perkins with us tonight. Kayla is an actress and a model, and she's been in a lot of films here in the South. What's up, Kayla?
Kayla, what's up?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hey,
What's going on?
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm just sitting here chilling, having a matcha tea.
Oh, nice. Awesome. So you was actually recommended to me by a friend of ours, someone else we've had on the podcast. He's like, hey, you should reach out to Kayla Perkins. And that was Kenny Scott Guffrey who messaged me. And so when I looked up, you guys have done a project together, The Dark Room, which was released last year by Kenny Scott Guffrey and Jake C. Young. So that just come out. I know we had them on the podcast, but I wanted to hear a little bit about that and a little bit about your how you got started as an actress and a model.
Okay. So first I'll go about The Dark Room. Yes, I love Kenny. He's amazing. Like when he texted me, he was like, "You're the first person I thought of." And I was like, that means so much to me. But yes, we did The Dark Room together and it was such a blast. And they're just so fun to work with. I got to film with them, I think it was for a day. And it was just so much fun. I had to audition. And so for the role, it was like, flirty type. And so when we were filming, I like amped it up even more, but it was just so funny to be on set and like, they were like, I need you to flirt in front of the camera and wave to him. And I was like, being a girl, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And so, but my favorite part in The Dark Room, and I don't know if you've seen it yet or not.
We have actually own it.
Oh, great. Okay. So my favorite part was when I had to get on top of him and act like I was going to stab him. When I was on set, they were like, Kayla, you're scaring me. Like you're having way too much fun with that knife, which sounds probably crazy, but, so that was what I loved. But yeah, so I got started. I used to do pageants when I was younger, and they were casting for The Simple Life with Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. And it was pageant camp on that one episode. And so during the interview process, they asked me if there was anything that I needed to work on when it came to pageants. And at the time I was 12. So I was like, interview, because I get super nervous. And, of course, going into a room with people you don't know and them asking you tons of questions. So the lady was like, you probably won't get it. You live all the way in Kentucky. We normally cast people out in LA just because of expenses. So I got all in my ball gown dress, had my teacup chihuahua right beside me in the interview, and he ends up like biting me really bad during the interview. And so they called me the next day and they're like, we love you. We'll fly you out here. So I was super excited and nervous at the same time because I had never done anything in front of the camera, had no clue, like what was going to take place. So we get out there, they end up making the moms do the pageant. And so, like, if you sang, did dance, whatever it is you did for a pageant, my mom had to turn around and do it. And it was called Hot Moms USA. And my mom was like, I don't want no part of that. Like, I came out here for you. And so I ended up having to beg her to do it for me because I was like, this might be my only opportunity. So so we ended up doing that, and I just like had such a fun experience. Because when we filmed, it was like teacup parties, toilet papering houses, like just fun stuff. And so when I came back to Kentucky, I was like, this is what I want to do. And I was like, I want to do more of it. And that's how I got my foot in the door to horror, because that's what's here in Kentucky. And so I got to meet tons of people, and I started out doing Telephone, and they also did Santa Claus versus Zombies. So from there on out is when I really started.
Okay.
I was on Telephone as a little background extra. I was there for a day. I know what you're talking about. George Vanilla did a lot of movies back there in the day. You was also in a couple of my movies, if you recall, Kayla. Back when you were about 15, we did a little movie called Navstar. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was such a blast.
So it was a little monster movie, Navstar, which was in Killer Shorts 1 that we did. Yeah, you came down to Tennessee for one day. I think we filmed that in Sparta, Tennessee, and you came down and we shot just a few scenes with you. But you were next to this guy, and there was pig guts everywhere, and it was disgusting. It was really gross. But so the editing in that movie was really kind of choppy. And what happened was that day in particular, we were filming with the mini cassettes, the DVD mini cams, and I went on and shot more stuff after that, and we went back to edit. That particular day, the whole tape was kind of messed up, so we really didn't have the budget to go back and reshoot all that stuff. But I edited it as good as I could. But so I have people say, "Well, what's up with that editing for that particular scene with you and the guy?" But that was it. The thing got a little choppy, and for some reason just messed up. But I don't know what happened to it. It didn't happen before, and didn't happen the days after. But yeah, it was kind of messed up. But yeah, that was Killer Shorts.
Those things like happen all the time. I feel like crazy things like that. Kayla, have you ever had like where you were, getting ready to film something and something crazy happens on set, or have you had any like crazy stories that you could want to share?
So, I feel like, how do I say it? Like, I feel like you do not have a good set unless something happens. Like, I just think, something always happens. And sometimes, it's like for the good or bad. But, my thing in life is like, if you keep rolling with it, that's what matters. And I think, even with crazy stuff that happens, like you learn so much for your next set or even just that set that I think, it just like, I want to say it like makes you who you are, but I think as a team, like you just learn so much, and I think it helps each person grow.
Yeah, always crazy stuff happen on set, and I love it that you do recognize like how difficult it is, because it's most people, the average person, we watch movies all the time, but they don't really realize how much work really goes into the making of a film. Yeah.
Well, I try to think about it as like the other day it just came to me, and I was trying to think. I was like, just like any other profession out here in the world, like if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. And, so I think, like, especially just acting, like, you appreciate everything once you try to direct something because you're like, this is a lot of work. And sometimes you don't realize, like, what exactly goes into each step and stuff like that until you do it all and you're like, wow, like, this is crazy. But like I said, like, every single thing, I think, whether it's like acting or, like I said, I wrote a book, like stuff like that, like, you take appreciation for all of it because you're like, this is what goes into it. And like, you're just like, I don't know, it's a learning experience because there's just so much out there.
Yep. So there's something else I'm dying to ask you. So I noticed that you were in an episode of the Travel Channel's Most Terrifying Places. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So I got to portray as one of the ghosts. And so it was in a theater, and so I got to, while they were filming, like, roam the halls, stuff like that. So that's basically what I did, but it was very interesting, and just to watch them set up and how they did things and like make it, especially with lighting and stuff like that, make it look like it's a real ghost. And so I love, like, if you could make it spookier, the better. So that's basically what I did.
So what was the haunted place?
I'm so sorry, but I do not recall.
That's okay. Would you guys actually film at the haunted location, or did they just create it, or did you actually film like the actual real haunted? Would you say a theater?
Yes, it was an actual theater, and I'm pretty sure that's where it took place.
Okay. So are you a horror fan? Do you legitimately like watching horror movies?
Yes, I love horror. I love it more when I have somebody beside me because I'm not covering my eyes, but no, I do love horror. I think they've had so many movies come out, recently that are really good, but one of my favorites back in the day was Prom Night.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, the original. I know they made a remake of it.
I think it was the remake, actually.
Okay.
But so I love stuff like that, and then one of my all-time favorites was The Hitcher.
Oh, The Hitcher's a great movie.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
so I love stuff like that. And then of course, like back in the day, I also used to watch like Saw.
Mhm.
I think that's so interesting how they make stuff like that. So I love stuff like that.
Yeah, very creative writing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I'm like, it's just crazy. I'm like, how people think of certain things, or like, I don't know. It's just wild.
Yeah. My brain is not that creative. Like, I just don't have the imagination for something like Saw. It is crazy. It's a crazy storyline for sure. So, so you've been in all these things, and like, if some of our listeners want to check you out, are you on social media? Where can we find you at?
I am. I have Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. You can find me all on there at Kayla Perkins. And then I also have a website. It's www.kaylaperkins.com also.
Okay, awesome. So everybody go check out Kayla Perkins. Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you coming on and taking a few minutes to talk to us. And we appreciate all your hard work and horror for keeping it alive and thriving.
Well, Thank you so much.
Thanks
for
coming on.
I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Alrighty. Well, thank you again.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
All right, then. Well, that's all I got for you. You got anything else?
I think that's it for now.
Awesome. Well, you know what you need to do, don't you?
What's that?
You need to keep it
hardcore.
Yep. Just like that. All right, then. I'll talk to you later.
Later.
Wow, that's hardcore.
Nothing harder.
Horror Hardcore Horror with Mike and Bridget is a part of the Tennessee Horror Podcast Network.